Come one, come all. It's time for an all new The RCWR show coming at you this March 23rd, 2015. A very good Monday to you all. I hope that it was a good one as we are here to talk WWE Raw Fallout. It was the final Raw as we're now on our way to WrestleMania weekend. That's right, WrestleMania. Can you taste it? We're about less than 6 days away. I want to hear from those of you that had checked out tonight's episode of WWE Raw. Post your comments down below. You can also hit us up on Twitter at the RCWR show. Have you checked out our Facebook page? You really should. Infinity One Productions. That's Infinity with an E. Make sure you spell out one, Infinity One Productions. Make sure you share this link. You can do so a number of ways. You can also share this by tweeting it, Google Plusing it. My God, there's so many options you can do, but it's definitely one of the many ways you can spread a good word about our content. All right, guys. All right. So without any further ado, I guess if anything, I just want to let those of you that might be new to us, you might be checking us out for the very first time. Maybe you're kind of looking for actual WWE Raw footage. You might be able to find what you're looking for on WWE Fan Nation right here on YouTube, or you can head on over to WWE's website. They may have some photos and a little bit of something in between of what all you might have missed from tonight's episode. Okay, guys? And I want to begin the show just to kind of follow up on something I was talking about over the weekend, as I don't want to spend that much time on this because I really want to try to have this be a very upbeat episode as humanly possible. But I know there are many of you that had heard about the unfortunate passing of El Perro Aguayo Jr., as he was involved in a very freak accident. That's really the best way it can be described right now, where he lost his life in the ring doing what he does best, which is entertaining the fans. Freak accident that went down. Unfortunately, you know, it is what it is as more new information is coming in, but Rey Mysterio was involved in this match with him. TJ Perkins, aka Manic, aka Suicide. You all mainly have seen a lot of his work from TNA Wrestling if you check out multiple wrestling promotions. Conan from AAA, Lucha Underground, he was there as well. A lot of people that was involved in that. I believe I'm trying to think who else was. My mind's a little fuzzy right now as far as who all else was in there, but I know there was reports running around all day today that executives were having some type of a meeting to figure out whether or not they were maybe gonna do some type of a picture graphic, if you will, saying in memory of or something of that nature. And if you watched Raw tonight for the whole 3 hours that it was on, you would have seen that there was no mention of Perro whatsoever. No doubt this is probably going to have some people be a little bit upset at WWE. After all, no matter how far away they try to get from the word wrestling and they try to dress it up as sports entertainment and all that. And to their credit, this is something that Vince McMahon has been preaching about his version of the WWE ever since he took over. He's always been saying sports entertainment. If you go back, you can see the footage for yourself of him always referring to the WWE, WWF as sports entertainment. But I know there's probably a lot of you guys that might be a little bit upset at the fact that WWE did not acknowledge it, whether or not they actually did have some type of a discussion about doing some type of a graphic image mentioning this young man that died. I mean, we won't officially know. We just won't. Maybe that Mets Forever fan or whoever that is, maybe he can shed, or she can shed a little bit more light on what's going on. But I'll tell you this much. I'll definitely be talking about the whole situation more on this young man's passing on our Tuesday night radio edition / podcast edition of the RCWR show. I just want to get that out the way before we go any further. All right, so kick on back. Let's have an upbeat show on that note. I loved how Raw kicked off tonight. I'm just going to give you guys some quick bullet points. That's the way we do it on here now. We don't go all in the nitty and gritty on every single nook and cranny that came about during the course of the 3 hours. But the way the show opened up as they were there in the Staples Center, Los Angeles Staples Center. Oh, decent crowd this go round. You know, past couple of times WWE has been at the Staples Center. It's been a little bit of a weak atmosphere, but tonight I got to give the LA crowd a lot of props. They were definitely energetic throughout the course of this entire episode. Love the fact that Sting opened up Raw. WWE, they let that be no secret, as if you signed up for the WWE to get notifications and all that, you would have gotten a notification most likely anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour before Raw came on, letting you know Sting was going to be opening up Raw tonight. And I love the fact that Sting talked more than what we had got last week, especially on the WWE network. Sting speaks, and he only talked for like about 40 seconds. We got a little bit more this go round, and I love the fact that the crowd, they relished in the moment, because I was just saying to myself as I was watching Sting, please crowd, LA crowd, do not do the silly what chants as this man is talking. We really need to be able to just marinate on what he's saying. And I love the fact that Sting, or at least let's not give Sting all the credit, let's give the writers credit as well. I love how they basically addressed Sting fighting for WCW's honor and all that, because the way it kind of came off for many weeks, it kind of came off as if, well, is this the storyline? Basically, it's Sting trying to defend the honor of WCW, a company that's been out of business now for like 14, 15 years. That's just kind of silly. What the hell? I love the fact that they had Sting basically say this isn't about fighting for the honor of WCW. That's silly. Kind of basically addressing what many people were saying throughout social media, that thought that was maybe the direction of this storyline. For Sting, his agenda is basically to take Triple H down. He's been watching him for quite a long time, and basically the vibe, the gist of what you were getting from Sting, who talked for maybe about 2-3 minutes tops before he got joined by the lovely Stephanie McMahon. You know, he basically was talking about how he's been watching Triple H over the years, and if there's one thing he's noticed greatly about Triple H, is just so much power hungry he's become in everything. And you know, he's looking to take him out. Basically, he wants to take him down. And I don't know, you know, part of me just wants to say, is Sting really focused on the right person? He shouldn't he be more focused on Vince McMahon? Or, you know, it's just kind of interesting to me that we've yet to see Vince McMahon be thrown into this whole scenario. I mean, we're finally introduced to Sting. Sting is finally in the WWE, and yet Sting has not yet crossed paths with the chairman. I don't know about you guys, but that's just a little. I'm hoping that maybe with WrestleMania, Vince McMahon will make some type of a cameo. I think it would be a really sweet spot if we saw Vince McMahon in a backstage segment. He's talking with Triple H, and then later on in the night, he bumps into Sting. You honestly don't even have to have any words be exchanged between the two. You can just basically have Vince McMahon and Sting just do a stare down, and that could be it. Or maybe you could do a situation where Vince McMahon, you know, does the stare down with Sting, and Vince says to Sting, "Good luck out there." And Sting just kind of looks at him, smiles a little bit, walks away. Yeah, I don't know, just a little something, but I would love to see these two cross paths. I just think it would be a very cool moment. I don't know about you guys, but things cranked up quite a bit after Sting talk for a couple of minutes as we saw Stephanie McMahon come out, and I'm telling you, once she came out, heard her music go, and she's just walking her little cute self down the ramp, I just couldn't help but say, oh, this is going to be epic. This is going to be a great rub off. This is going to be a really great exchange of interactions. And sure enough, it was. I love how Stephanie just went in there. She amazes me like week in, week out, every single time she gets on that microphone. I did a excerpt on our podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I basically had talked about how it just kind of seems like Stephanie missed her true calling, which was as a diva. And I had talked about how it just really would have been very interesting to see where she would have ended up being on the Divas roster if she just continued to really stay on top of it, if she didn't really try to learn so much of the business behind the scenes stuff and all that, if she really just, you know what, I want to do this wrestling thing, because I mean, she just really comes off as a natural. She just seems like, I don't know, it just fits so well for her, you know, guys. And you know, it's just one of those head scratchers where it's kind of like we'll never know how she would have been, you know, if she would have been putting in all that training. You know, you can't help but wonder, you know, if she would have had some really solid matchups with Beth Phoenix or AJ Lee or Paige, Bella Twins, Natalia. You just can't really help but wonder where she would have been, at least maybe in the past 5 years, 7 years, give or take, if she really would have honed in on wrestling more and everything. Because I'm still tripping over what she did at the last SummerSlam. That was, I tell you, she took that crap really seriously. Let me tell you, good crap, by the way. I'm saying good crap. But I love how Stephanie McMahon held her own against Sting. I love the Dogg comparison. It kind of gave me the impression that maybe she was coming out to try to neuter Sting as she tried to go for a pimp slap. Sting blocked it. Triple H comes out. And oh man, it looked like these two guys were about to get it on right then and there in the ring. Before Triple H could even go into the ring, we see Stephanie McMahon, devilish look on her face, gives Triple H a sledgehammer. Triple H is about to go in there, handle his business, but then Sting pulls out a bat. And here's where I kind of got to go with the whole riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of the big black bat? Well, apparently it was Triple H, because Triple H decided sledgehammer versus bat. There's just no way I can win this. You got it, Sting. I'll see you at WrestleMania. And I just couldn't help but say, how the hell does a bat beat a sledgehammer? Even if the bat was made out of metal, how the hell does the bat beat the sledgehammer? I really wasn't trying to read too much into it, but instantly, as soon as I saw this play out, I just couldn't help but chuckle and say, are you kidding me? What the hell? But great way to open up Raw tonight. I felt definitely a very, very good, strong opener. From there, one of our first matches we had saw R-Truth, Dean Ambrose, pick up a victory over Stardust. And I can't remember who Stardust's partner was for this tag match. I know somebody that was watching Raw will let me know. So we'll come back to that in a couple of seconds. But R-Truth, Dean Ambrose picked up the win. From there, the most disturbing scene, if you're a Dean Ambrose fan, had went down. We actually saw Dean Ambrose attempt to dance with R-Truth. He was trying to get jiggy with it, and I'll say this much: I enjoy Dean Ambrose dancing more so than Jim Ross. You guys remember when Jim Ross and Michael Cole was going at it a couple of years back? You remember how Jim Ross started break dance and he was slapping his booty and all that? You guys are probably like, no, Lee, don't bring that up. That was a very poor and very traumatizing moment in JR's history. We all don't need to endure that again. Hey, you're already on YouTube. After you get done with this, go look it up. It was actually a pretty hilarious segment right there. And before I continue, can somebody help me out? Who was Stardust? Not Stardust. Yeah, I said Stardust. Who was Stardust tag partner? I don't see the comment in yet. Somebody help me out. I want to know, so those that did not watch Raw, so they know who it was that R-Truth and Dean Ambrose defeated. I know it was Stardust. I just can't picture the other cat that was in there. Dean Ambrose better stop doing all that dancing. He better be careful, or else he's going to get a new gimmick. He's going to be called Dancing Dean, and we don't need that to go down. Interesting note, one of two polls that had came about to set up matches for tonight's Raw. One of them was, who did you, the WWE Universe, want to have Randy Orton face? Yes, you got to decide who Randy Orton's opponent was going to be that he would face later on in the night. These were your options. I BS you not. Your options were Kane, Big Show, or Seth Rollins with J&J Security, thus a handicap match 3-on-1. With over 77% of the votes, Seth Rollins won. Now, look, that's 77% to me, and I'm not overanalyzing this, okay? I didn't think about this. I just, in real time, I saw the results, and I said, I need to talk about this a little bit more during our show tonight. So, real time right here. This isn't rehearsed. None of what I say on here when we're live, as soon as Raw goes off the air, is predetermined or it's pre-written. None of that. It's just naturally freestyle, just off the top of my head. I speak my mind, whatever comes to my mind. All right. I couldn't help but look at that poll, see that Seth Rollins won by 77%, and I couldn't help but say, Seth Rollins is really coming along well. He's getting over well with the WWE Universe. If you compare Seth Rollins in the Shield at the very beginning, when it first formed and all of that, and they were doing their thing for those months, compared to the Seth Rollins that we have now, it's almost like two completely different people, two completely different personalities. You mess with this Seth Rollins that we have right now more so than what we got in the Shield when we were first introduced to the trio. And this polling result, to me, it definitely says that Seth Rollins, he's got his fan base. All right. At the same time, this poll also says to me that a majority of the WWE fans, not universe, fans, don't give a flying hoot about Kane and Big Show, that they're really tired of seeing these guys in these key dominant spots where they're taking up precious TV time every single week. I'm really hoping that this poll really says to WWE, the higher ups and all of that, that they've got to start scaling back on Kane and Big Show. After this Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal match is over and done with, their roles need to significantly decrease to the point that, you know, it needs to be a situation where, honestly, I would love for it to go down where it's rare that we see these two guys. It needs to start feeling special when these two guys get in the ring and they wrestle, especially the Big Show. You know, I think it would be, and this is just a suggestion right here. You guys marinate on this, smoke it, marinate on it. Let me know what you think. And maybe we can bring this up again Tuesday, depending on the number of comments we get. But I think it would be cool if they just started to have Big Show and or Kane only perform at the house shows. And when it comes to main WWE programming, let it be a really rare and special occasion. So just thinking about the entire calendar year for main WWE programming, I think it would kind of be nice if you let both of those guys, whether as a tag team or singles competitors, you let them pop up like maybe 3 times out of the year, let it be really, really special. If it was 10 years ago, I'd be like, whatever. But I mean, these guys are taking up too much freaking TV time. It's ridiculous. I think WWE and the way that they structured their last deal with Chris Jericho, who only wanted to do the house shows. And in his defense, when he was talking about the reason why he decided to do it like that, his whole mentality was, well, look, I've done TV a lot over the years. I've helped him out on main WWE programming. Yeah, I kind of want to scale back, and I kind of want it to be kind of cool and special for those people that are getting the WWE live events in their area. They're getting the house shows in their area to come out because they're going to see something cool and something special that they're not going to get on main WWE programming. I think that would be a good mentality to enforce on guys like Kane and Big Show. Let me know what you guys think with regards to that. But I thought the polling that they had right there, I thought it was very interesting that Seth Rollins won by 77%. Speaking of that match, by the way, J&J Security, Seth Rollins taking on Randy Orton. It was a very quick match, man. I mean, a lot of the matches that we got tonight, it was fairly quick. This match was probably done in like about maybe... God, it felt like maybe 3 minutes tops. I remember the finish was Randy Orton delivering a RKO. I believe it was on... It definitely wasn't on Seth Rollins, because now that I think about it, I don't even recall Seth Rollins and Randy Orton touching one another. But Seth Rollins, let me see. Yeah, they didn't touch one another. I remember Randy Orton getting an RKO on one of the J&J Security guys. I'm kind of tempted to say maybe it was Mercury. I'm not sure. Next up, we had Miz, Damian Sandow. The Ascension made their return. We hadn't seen them on WWE programming in many weeks now. And the last few times we did see them, they kept getting their butts handed to them. We saw the Ascension. So who we got? We got Miz, we got Sandow, we got Ascension. Adam Rose. They took on Darren Young, Titus O'Neil, Eric Rowan, Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder in a rare appearance and in a rare win for his team. He ended up picking up the victory for his team. He pinned, of all people, Adam Rose. Interesting stuff right there. I wonder if that maybe is going to possibly set up something between those two guys down the road. Who knows? One of my favorite matches of the night, a lot of time was put into it. Paige taking on Nikki Bella for the Divas Championship. So for those of you that might have been complaining about the fact that, and thank you, Andre. Andre says the RKO was on Joey Mercury from what we just talked about a few seconds ago. Thanks for that, Andre. For those of you that might have been complaining that the Divas Championship wasn't going to be making an appearance at WrestleMania, you could kind of take a little bit of comfort in the fact that we saw a very good, lengthy match for the Divas Championship go down tonight between Nikki Bella and Paige. Really enjoyed it. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to jump out there, and I'm going to say it was probably one of the best singles matches for the Divas I've seen in quite a long time. Only problem I have with that match, I didn't like the finish. Now, just to take you into the final seconds of that match, basically at one point we saw Paige and Nikki toss and turn and fumble out of the ring. From there, we saw Brie Bella. She looked as though maybe she was going to try to attack Paige, and then that would basically make the referee throw the match out, right? Well, no, that didn't happen, as AJ Lee, she came from behind Brie, attacked her. She's working on her, we see Paige. She comes to her feet, and she tried to tap AJ Lee on her back, and then AJ ended up striking Paige. Nikki would take advantage of this. As much as AJ wanted to be physical with Nikki, she didn't want for the referee to throw the match out, so she just stood by, watched Nikki Bella toss Paige in there, and then she does her little finisher, the rack attack. And I just couldn't help but say to myself, as I'm watching Paige, who's very coherent, very lively and everything, giving an audible or whatever to Nikki as she's getting ready to get placed in the rack attack. And basically, it just goes 1, 2, snap, and then Nikki drops her 1, 2, 3. I was expecting a kick out. And I mean, for me, growing up as a kid in the 90s, I couldn't help but look at that rack attack and think about Lex Luger. You know, I've seen many, but Lex Luger really comes to my mind because he used to do the torture rack or whatever. And when Lex Luger would get you in that move, he would just, I mean, he would not let go. Either two things were going to happen. Either you were going to tap out or you were going to pass out. He did not let that bad boy loose. So for me, I kind of wish that, you know, the way that match had played out, I wish that Paige would have kicked out. And then that would have made Nikki extremely upset. And then Nikki just picks her up and just, you know, continues to do the torture rack, you know, just and not let go until either Paige passed out or she tapped out. That's just my personal preference. They kind of rebounded nicely after the match was over, as we saw AJ Lee come in. I think she was trying to help Paige, comfort her, and then those two girls just started brawling, so you couldn't help but kind of say to yourself, wow, there's a little bit of friction going on with these two girls. How are they going to be able to get on the same page come WrestleMania Sunday against the Bella Twins in the tag match? So interesting drama that they had going on right there, but that's just my personal take. I think going forward they need to do something with that whatchamacall. You're not being rude, Dawn. If I am incorrect on what came about with that 10-man tag match, that's fine. Dawn is saying that it was actually Ryback who pinned Miz in a 10-man tag match. So let me just go back right here. I must admit I was a little bit distracted as I was watching the multitasking here, interacting with you guys. Yeah, if that's what actually had went down, take what Don says. If anybody wants to challenge that, let me know. All right. I guess we could get the Hall of Fame newest induction out the way. Should be no secret to you guys. It looks like it was Kevin Nash, although he's not going in as Kevin Nash. He's actually going in as Diesel. And, you know, I said it here on this show last week. I said, you know, for me, in my honest opinion, I don't really feel as though Kevin Nash has had that much of a illustrious career to the point that he needs to be going into the WWE Hall of Fame just as an individual. My argument was, you know, he maybe needs to go in as part of the NWO, the Clique, or whatever. And, you know, some of you all said, well, Lee, look at it this way. If you think about it, he's given us some very memorable moments in wrestling history. And to that, I say, you're absolutely right. And the video package that they had showed tonight, I must admit it kind of reminded me just a little bit on, you know, just exactly how much Kevin Nash has done for the business over the years. And I love the fact that during the video package that they showed tonight, for those of you that did not see it, WWE did a really good job in putting over Kevin Nash, aka Diesel, basically saying you could trace the whole Attitude Era. You could trace it all back really to Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, when they went over to WCW and they did the whole NWO invasion, as that really had set off the Attitude Era. That set off the Monday Night War. And you could definitely credit Kevin Nash as a result of that. And, when you look at it from that standpoint, you could kind of understand the reason why he's being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Notice during the video package, and maybe Kevin Nash will bring this up in his acceptance speech over the weekend, but notice during the video package, they didn't show the infamous finger poke of doom. And it's so funny because me and my friend and coworker Marcus, we were talking about this today at work. And he said to me, how do you know all this stuff about wrestling? It's like, I'm a sports guy. I know my football and all that, but how do you know all this stuff with wrestling? Because, he was picking my brain on some stuff. And I told him, I said, dude, I make it my business to know this stuff about wrestling. I make it my business to brush up on my history and all that because I talk about it every week. And, because we started talking about how I just landed on WCW's 1996 Great American Bash pay-per-view, Baltimore, Maryland. I'm about to watch it. I'll probably actually watch it as soon as I get off the air with you guys. And I watched it before when I was a kid, but I haven't watched it since. I only watched it one time. So, of course, if you guys need a refresher, Bash at the Beach 1996 WCW, that was the pay-per-view that really put the ball in motion. That really has set things off, as that was the birth of the NWO. As remember, on all the weeks for WCW Nitro, you had Razor Ramon, Scott Hall come in there. They never did address Scott Hall, Kevin Nash. They never did address them over those weeks. They just kept like, it's what are they doing here? What's he doing? They did it like that. And for weeks, Scott Hall was like, where is the Nacho Man? And then he was like, where's Kendall? And Kendall was Eric Bischoff. And like, eventually Scott Hall, he came across Bischoff and he was saying to him, you want a war? You gonna get a war, Chico. Give us your best. You want a war? You got it. That's all he kept saying to him. And it basically was WCW's top three guys to take on Nash, Scott Hall, and it's like, well, who's their mystery partner? Who's their mystery partner? And we wouldn't find out until the closing moments of the main event match that it was Hulk Hogan, as he just delivered, my God, I think it was like 4 leg drops on Macho Man. I still remember all the debris that was pouring into the ring as Mean Gene Okerlund tried to get an interview with Hulk Hogan and basically say to him, I've known you for so many years, and I must say, Hulkster, I'm very disappointed in you right now. We need answers. You have a lot of explaining to do, and Hogan cut that infamous promo as debris just continued to pour in and all that. Definitely a great moment if you're a wrestling fan and you remember that moment. To watch it now on the network, I mean, it's cool, but it doesn't have the same impact if you actually lived through it and you saw it that first go round. It was like the talk at school, at work, any place, everywhere. If you had wrestling fans, it was the talk the very next day. And another cool moment, Kevin Nash wise, that comes to me is when Arn Anderson retired. And when Kevin Nash came out the very next week and he was mocking him and all that, You got to watch that yourself. But yeah, Kevin Nash has given us some very good memories. He's also given us some bad memories. I've referred to the finger poke of doom. Let's not forget he ended Goldberg's streak. Oh, I'll never forget that. They tased his ass, basically. Yeah, they tased his ass, and that's how Kevin Nash defeated Goldberg. And then the next night or the next week, it was the finger poke of doom. Yeah, that's all I got to say with regards to that. But I definitely have my fondest memories of Kevin Nash. A lot of good stuff, match wise. Oh God. Honestly, for me, and to each its own. Match wise, there really isn't. Oh wow, well that one match with Kevin, there really isn't. I'd have to really think about that one. Maybe that's something I can talk about Tuesday night. Maybe if I could make a top 10 Kevin Nash greatest matches. You know, I'd be really testing the memory, but we'll see what happens. See what else we had. Got some celebrities on tonight's Raw. We had saw Bill Simmons. Some of you are probably like, huh, you got to be a sports guru to really know about Bill Simmons. For the longest time, I actually remember watching Bill Simmons along with Doug Collins, and I can't think of the black chick. Sundays they would come on ABC, and they would do their little shoot around or whatever, their little pregame before the basketball game would come on, one of two games. And then all of a sudden, Bill Simmons disappeared. I could never figure out what exactly happened. Did he get demoted or what? Because now it's the black chick, Doug Collins, and Jalen Rose. They're now doing it, and they got like this really interesting music graphic intro, like you're watching the opening credits for Saturday Night Live with those cats and everything. But I had really enjoyed Bill Simmons' thoughts on his basketball analysis and all of that. And he is a big wrestling fan at heart. Uh, so I was actually able to tolerate him. I think WWE has been on a little bit of a trend the past couple of times they've reached out to guests, because it kind of comes off, and I'm kind of getting my wish, if you will, because if you remember a couple of months back, myself, I think Titus even agreed with me. I think because I remember we brought up the debate, and it was basically WWE needs to reach out to more celebrities that are actually familiar with the WWE product. They know their wrestling. Hell, they are at heart a wrestling fan. And it kind of seems like they've been doing that as of late. And I just have to say, keep that going, please, WWE. Bill Simmons, you could definitely genuinely tell that he was a fan of the product. Of course, with Snoop Dogg, because it's 187 on the undercover cop. Yeah, that's my giant right there. Snoop Dogg, I got nothing but love for Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg, he's not the Snoop Dogg of old. He's mellowed out big time, but Snoop Dogg, he's always been a fan of WWE. He's always done little collaborations with them over the years. And you all know that Sasha Banks and Snoop Dogg are cousins, right? WWE actually talked about their connection recently. You can check it out on WWE's website. That's where I had read the article from. And then when you kind of look at them both, you're kind of like, there's a little bit of similarities there. I can pick it up. Great segment, though, that we saw with Snoop Dogg. He basically came out dancing with the Divas before he could really get some full thoughts out there. We saw Curtis Axel interrupt him, and I was marking out. I loved the moment. I thought it was badass for the simple fact he was following in the footsteps once again of his dad, the late Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. I had the biggest smile on my face because all I could think about was the West Texas Rednecks. I hate rap. Rap is crap. That was my joint right there. And if you guys don't remember the West Texas Rednecks, you need to go back and look up Daily Motion or whatever. But basically, they were like this country stable that formed in WCW, and the guys involved was Kurt Hennig, Bobby Duncombe, Barry Windham, Curly Bill. I think I might have mentioned. I think Kendall Windham as well, and they actually had a hit song, "Rap Is Crap." And they were just going everywhere on tour singing that song and all that. I mean, it was it was hilarious stuff. But when I saw Curtis Axel come out, I'm saying to myself, "Oh my God, it's a West Texas redneck moment." And I just couldn't help but say, "That a boy, Curtis. That's what's up." But Curtis Axel comes out there plugging his whole Axel mania. Did he have a treat as he came face to face with the immortal Hulk Hogan, who basically gave him a lesson in Mania as what was it, one punch? Yeah, Hulkster took him out with one punch, and then Snoop Dogg. I had a hard time buying that, as skinny as Snoop Dogg is. I don't know, maybe he was empowered by the weed. Basically sends Curtis Axel flying out the ring over the ropes, and it's like it was a great moment right there. I mean, and if you really think about it, think about those hashtags right there. You have Axelmania, you have Hulkamania, and then WWE was like, use the hashtag Snoopmania. A lot of freaking hashtags, especially when you put in Raw, WrestleMania, and all those other stuff in there. But I thought that was a really great segment right there. I wonder if WWE, wow, that's an interesting thought right there. But how badass would it be if they get Curtis Axel and who was that guy that used to team up with Lance Cade? Murdoch? Be nice if you got Curtis Axel, Murdoch, Jimmy Yang Wang, and God, Honky Tonk Man is too old now. Although he would, I think he'd be kind of interesting, kind of maybe have him be like a manager or whatever. But I'm just thinking about a new West Texas redneck stable. I could see something like that go down with all of those guys. I think that would be pretty badass. What do you guys think that are familiar with your old school wrestling? There was a second poll that came about. Let's tell you about that. Basically, Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, which was a good match, but it wasn't as good as what they did on SmackDown last week. This match, though, needed a special guest referee. Your options were Dean Ambrose, R-Truth, Wade Barrett, Stardust, or Luke Harper. All right. Interesting when you compare Dean Ambrose. Well, damn, I just gave it away, but surely you guys knew Dean Ambrose was going to win, right? I hope you did. But Dean Ambrose won the poll. But it was interesting to see just by how much he won and the margin of his lead compared to Seth Rollins. All right. Fill me on this for a minute. Marinate on this. So Dean Ambrose wins by 57% of the votes. R-Truth, who really just popped up around the time for this whole IC ladder match, really, he comes in with 19% of the votes to come in at second place. Bad News Barrett takes 17%. And you got your 4 or 2% amongst Luke Harper, Eric Rowan. I mean, just marinate on that for a minute. Dean Ambrose wins, but it's only by 57% of the votes. That's like just a little bit over half that he won. And for me, I'm not overanalyzing this now, so don't get it twisted. But for me, I just think that that's very interesting because I've made the argument for the past several months now. I said Dean Ambrose is a good talent. He's got the whole late Brian Pillman thing going on, but at the same time, Brian Pillman would just kill him any day of the week. Let's all be for real. Those of us that remember Brian Pillman would have Dean Ambrose for breakfast, lunch, and dinner any day of the week. That's not saying that Dean Ambrose is bad. That's not saying he sucks. It's just the truth. All right. And a lot of us are looking at Dean Ambrose and we're saying to ourselves, one day he is definitely going to be a great WWE champion, but there's one or two things that he needs to string along together because there's just something that's missing from him, and I always make the comparison of, food, you like burgers. Well, for me, when I make burgers for the family, I like to put McCormick's season all salt in there. I like to put the black pepper in there. I like to put the red pepper. I have a little secret. It's not really a secret, but I'm willing to share it with you all. I actually will mix the ground beef up with some Hidden Valley Ranch. All right. So I hook that up, put a little oregano in there. You can't be going overkill with the oregano. If you go overkill with the oregano, meat's going to taste nasty. So put a little bit in there, maybe like a pinch. All right. Put it in your hand. Put some oregano in your hand. Grab a little pinch, throw it in there. All right. You mix it all up and everything. And boy, I tell you, you got yourself a good burger when you hook it up right. When I look at Dean Ambrose just as a burger, it's a perfect burger. There's missing one ingredient. There's that one ingredient that's missing that'll just make you scream, this is a damn good, tasty burger. Good segue, too, as far as burgers go, because there is a sweet spot between Tyson Kidd and Natalya plugging Burger King. As I loved it a lot. Tyson Kidd was there. Looks like he had chicken fries. I can't remember the other stuff that he had. But Natalya was putting on her makeup, and Tyson Kidd was basically talking about how, how he thinks he was really talking about the food, how it's hot and all this other stuff. And once Natty saw what he was talking about, she thought he was talking to her, but when she saw it was all about the Burger King, she sat down. She was mad, but she had a chicken fry. I think she had a personal moment, if you will, of excitement as she was eating that. I got to keep it clean on this episode, guys. But great little spot right there. But I just think that's interesting. Getting back to the poll results, Dean Ambrose, 57% of the votes. He wins. Just a little bit over half. But then you go look at Seth Rollins, and he won with 77% of the votes. I really don't think those votes were rigged whatsoever. We saw sexism and racism at its finest in one match, as we saw Los Matadors with El Torito defeat Natty, Tyson Kidd with Cesaro. It was an intergender, interspecies match. Moving along. Great match between Rusev and Jack Swagger. I know many of you are probably moaning and groaning hearing that Rusev and Swagger went at it again. This match, I must say, was actually good. I must admit. I enjoyed it. It kind of made me forget about the other times we've seen Rusev and Swagger lock it up. That's how good of a match it was. We saw Rusev defeat Swagger with the, what's he calling that finisher? The Acolyte or what? Bump that. Camel clutch, baby. Camel clutch all the way. He would not let that move go. We actually saw John Cena try to come and save Jack Swagger as Rusev delivered an ass whooping on John Cena in such a way. I love the way that the segment played out. I mean, honestly, that's the way you got to do it. I mean, Rusev is going into probably what is going to be one of the biggest paydays in his career so far as a WWE superstar, as he's going to be locking it up with a multi-time WWE champion in John Cena. Definitely a great high-profile match. I thought that it was smart booking the way that they had the segment set up between Swagger, Rusev, Cena. Just Rusev looking very strong from this segment. The way he dominated John Cena, especially the spot over at the announcers table, putting the camel clutch on him and all that. Loved it. Loved it. Great stuff right there. I'm actually excited to see that matchup. Bray Wyatt cut one hell of a promo. Best promo I've seen of Bray Wyatt within recent memory, talking about The Undertaker. For those of you curious, no, Undertaker did not pop up. I highly would recommend those of you that did not watch Raw tonight to go find that Bray Wyatt promo if you're lucky. Maybe WWE Fan Nation will have it. Great stuff that he had going on right there. I was a little bit concerned about the very beginning because a lot of the fans were chanting what, and I couldn't help but say to myself, man, would you guys shut up, because he's getting ready to deliver something very powerful right here. And if you guys could just shut up and smoke in what he's saying, you know, it's going to be awesome. And after a while, they shut up and they finally got lost into his promo. Great stuff. I mean, damn great stuff right there. See, main attraction of the night was Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar with a stubble, nonetheless, kind of growing a little bit of a beard. I don't know if that's going to be gone by WrestleMania. Looks rather unique on him, though. Face to face with Roman Reigns. If I'm not mistaken, these two guys hadn't been face to face since what? The Raw Snowed In episode, right? If I'm not mistaken, maybe they did something in the ring together before that, looking at one another. And man, the fans just booed the hell out of Roman Reigns there. I like how. Oh, and we got to show Paul Heyman love. I mean, he rebounded from like 2 weeks ago when I had said of all the promos that he gave, because there was like a series of weeks back to back there where Paul Heyman was cutting a promo. It was almost like WWE's writers were saying to themselves, we got 15 minutes to kill. What do we do? Well, put Paul Heyman out there. He can carry us home. And out of like, my God, I think Paul Heyman has done something for like maybe 5 consecutive weeks. There's probably only 1 week in there where it was kind of weak. But I mean, he rebounded nicely tonight, talking about how Lesnar is basically going to take Roman Reigns' woman and take the food off of Roman Reigns' table for his family and all that. It's going to be so bad that Roman Reigns' kid is going to be named Lesnar or whatever. I mean, he just went all out there. It was such an awesome promo that even Brock Lesnar, you could read his lips. He looked at Paul and he was like, that's good. That's some good stuff. And boy, I tell you, Paul Heyman, he is like the Don King of professional wrestling, man. He can get you hyped up for a match, let me tell you. And he talked me into this match, but I must admit, seeing Roman Reigns come out, get in the ring with Brock Lesnar holds up the championship belt, and the fans are just, they're loving it. They're cheering him, all that. Roman Reigns grabs the belt. He holds it up in the air, and the fans are just booing the hell out of it. And I'm not overanalyzing things when I say this, but just to see Roman Reigns hold up the WWE Championship and just the look on his face, go back. Just go back if you don't believe me. He didn't look confident. You know, you see those faces over the years. You just think about how those final segments play out from over the years and setting up a pay-per-view, and it's like, hey, here's the champion, but wait a minute, the contender grabbed the championship belt away from the champion. They're holding it up high, and you know they've got the swagger, they've got that look, and you know, I don't know, maybe it's acting on Roman Reigns' part, but he just does not scream to me, yeah, he's ready. He's the man. And if you watch our WrestleMania prediction special, you'll definitely know where I stand with regards to that main event match. Did not appreciate the abrupt ending for Raw tonight, as basically we saw these two grown men, gimme. gimme, and it just basically goes off to hype up Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart's movie. Very awkward ending. Very awkward ending. I just was like, really? That's it? It's like you just, and it basically went off to set up what was it? Dig. I thought the name of the show was Dick. I was about to say, should we really be showing that on the USA Network? Hey, I'm just being for real. Don't scream at me. All right. Besides, I could have been talking about the actor Andy Dick. I mean, come on, get your mind out together. Wink. All right, let's get to you guys' comments and let's see what you guys have to say. This is my favorite part of the show. What's up, Matt? Bray Wyatt is slowly creeping up to Paul Heyman when it comes to mic work, but that ending was lame. We can all blame Kevin Dunn. Yeah, it's possible, man. It's possible. Vincent remembers Kevin Nash, 1998 Cannonball champion. Too sweet. See. We got something from John Cena, not the actual John Cena. John says Diesel in the Hall of Fame is like putting Stephen Marby in the NBA Hall of Fame. What a joke. Word life. Andre's not really sure what's going on with Bill Simmons being on Raw. He felt that the guy was just random or whatever. It makes sense. Bill Simmons has been a fan for a long time. They really didn't do that good of a job hyping him up on this episode as they did last week. But basically, he runs the Grantland website, and he's definitely a big wrestling fan. He's always talking about wrestling on his website and everything. And as you heard, if you were watching Raw tonight, apparently he would love to maybe work with WWE on doing a 30 for 30 documentary special on Andre the Giant. I think that would be pretty freaking awesome. ESPN in the past, they've done some pretty good stuff. One that comes to mind is one 30 for 30 special. I believe it was a 30 for 30 special that they did on Scott Hall. I thought that was really freaking sweet. And then there was one that they did on, I gotta look the name up. Had to do with Rocky Balboa, the franchise. Let me just type in something. Real Rocky Balboa maybe speaks. Maybe I'll be able to get the name for you guys. I see the guy. I see an image of the guy. I just can't picture the name right now. Chuck Wepner. There we go. Yeah, there was a really good it was either ESPN documentary or maybe it was an independent documentary. I want to say ESPN might have did something with it, but I remember there was a really good Chuck Wepner documentary that came out where basically, for those of you that might not be familiar, Sylvester Stallone basically stole a lot of his Rocky Balboa material from Chuck Wepner, and it like resulted in a long time lawsuit. I mean, they were just for years, but I think they ended up settling, and Chuck finally, got a good payday. He finally got recognition and all that. I didn't mean to get sidetracked though. Let's see what else you guys got to say here. Ramon, what's up, Ramon? I see that Divas tag match being changed into a fatal four-way at WrestleMania. I hope so. I got Andre saying there was a RKO done on Joey Mercury. That's correct. That's what I remember. What else we got here? Let's see. Just skimming through the comments, guys. Bear with me here. Some of you all are a little bit concerned about that sledgehammer there. A lot of you all felt that Sting would have been quicker with the bat. Hey, I'm just saying, if you got a weapon, I got a weapon. Your weapon is long at length. My weapon is long at length. Have at it. I mean, for real. Let's see. Jock, just like tonight, Triple H and WWE are going to be in Sting's country, even though he lives in Dallas. As far as I'm concerned, he is born and raised from Venice Beach, California. Legacy. Lee, do you think WWE should bring back the WWE Women's Championship? It has a long history of women who won that, such as the fabulous Moolah, Alondra Blaze, Bertha Faye, China, Trish Stratus, and Lita. In my opinion, this title is much important as the WWE Championship is. Short answer, not with this current WWE that's put in place right now. As far as their main programming and all that goes, no, because right now, for them to say women's championship, I mean, look, I'd love to see the championship come back. But you got this whole divas thing going on. It's all about the divas, and you got the total diva show that's going on and all that. Um, and not to mention, I'm looking at the current roster right now. I mean, gone are the days, unfortunately, of the fabulous Moolahs, the Alondra Blaze, the Bertha Fays, the Chinas, the Trish Stratus, the Litas, the Beth Phoenix. Gone are those days. The Divas Championship that's in place right now, it could definitely be, if utilized right, with the right competitors, right storylines, and all that, it can definitely be put into a position where it can equal to the women's championship, if not more. It's up to the people in charge to make it happen. But I don't think they need to bring back the women's championship. Some of you are concerned about the way Raw ended. No, I love Stephanie McMahon's theme song, especially the part where the little rapper chick says something about, look at her, she's got hips and or what, because I kind of like it. It fits Stephanie's personality. I mean, my God, if you had to be, if you want to talk about being tortured by theme music, would you rather hear continuously for 9 straight hours Stephanie McMahon's old music, I'm All Grown Up, or would you rather hear what we got now? I mean, quite honestly, I'd rather go with what we're hearing right now from Steph, if I had to choose. I still remember there was a conference that she did. I want to say maybe it was, might have been the conference where they were introducing the WWE network, and they were basically hyping it up for the North American launch or whatever. And I remember Stephanie McMahon came out to I'm All Grown Up, and I remember her saying something like, that song is so old, it really needs to be updated. And then the next thing I know, it took like about 2 weeks, but they updated her music, and it was like the next time you saw her, she was pushing the whole whatever the hell they're singing in that damn song. Let's see what else we got here. Some of you feel that Vince McMahon is out of touch. J104. Can't wait for Fastlane Sunday. I mean, WrestleMania. These writers must have been spoken with Snoop Dogg because this show sucked. I can't even imagine how much Lesnar got paid to play tug of war like a third grader. Vince is out of touch. I agree with you. You're not gonna get any disagreement from my end. I thought the tug of war was a silly way for Raw to go off. I would have preferred it if maybe Brock Lesnar would have bitch slapped Roman Reigns, and then Roman Reigns maybe would have came right back and maybe done a spear to Lesnar, and maybe you could have had security and a bunch of other people come out, and maybe you could have done a good fadeaway like that to end Raw. But some of you guys may say, typical, that's cliche. But my God, it would have been better than Tug of War, man. I mean, my freaking God. And those of you that's wondering what I think about Brock Lesnar, is he going to lose at WrestleMania? We do have our match prediction special that's uploaded on YouTube right now. So if maybe you have a hard time sleeping or you're at work and you want some more of our great content to check out, you can pull that up. It's available on here. All right. And let's see what we got going on here. A couple of more comments, then we'll shut it down. Just trying to skim ahead here. Young Blazing, sup Lee? Go home show tonight actually was great. Looking forward to Mania now. Love Snoop Dogg segment with Hulk and Curtis Axel. And I know you were critical of Kevin Nash going to the Hall of Fame, but I must admit, after watching the video package tonight, it's kind of hard to disagree that he isn't deserving of it. Lastly, I did like the way Raw ended tonight, though, expecting more of the Lesnar and Roman face-off. Yeah, definitely. A lot of you all seem to be, constant theme I'm seeing. Y'all did not like the way Raw ended. Very weak. I definitely think we could all be in agreement for that. Yeah, definitely. And I was definitely critical of Kevin Nash. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still am very firm on Kevin Nash going into the Hall of Fame. I still feel that, like I said, it would be a completely different show if I talked about all the people that have yet to go into the Hall of Fame, which reminds me, cheap plug, make sure you check out our Tuesday night edition of the RCWR show. It'll be live over on Spreaker.com. I got asked in a comment earlier, do you still do podcasts? And it's like, where you been, man? And it's like, we've been doing the podcast. Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker.com. All the links you need is in this episode description. So if you're not going to be able to join us live, you can check us out on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Tunein Radio. My God, we're like all over the place, man. Just use keywords in a Bing or Google search, the RCWR show. I'm actually going to give you guys my thoughts on who needs to go into the WWE Hall of Fame for next year. It's going to be a good list. Make sure you join me for that. And we'll also talk about the recent passing of Perro, as people have been waiting patiently for me to give my thoughts on everything. I'll present whatever facts that we have that's come to light, and I'll comment off of that. But we're going all over the place on that show. It's going to be very fun. It's going to be very insightful. Make sure you join us. As let's not also forget, we got WrestleMania weekend, Sunday, of course. You want to be on here. We will be live. We'll be talking WrestleMania Fallout. That will be really freaking awesome. I'm going to try to figure out a way to maybe bring our phone line back for the sole purpose of our YouTube and Spreaker stream. I'm going to try to see if maybe we could simulcast at like the same time on all those platforms. We can have you all call in and tell me your thoughts about WrestleMania in real time and all that. And let's see. I'm going to refresh this one more time. I got to show love to Twitter. I see some interactions on here. Razor or Twitter. Right, when AJ elbowed Paige, Nikki hit Paige with one finisher, and then The Rack attacked her, and that's why she couldn't kick out. Bump that, man. I still stick to what I was saying earlier. She should have just locked it in like Lex Luger. Never let that bad boy go. Got to give a shout out to Rob, who commented on the ending of Raw tonight as well. He said the ending seemed almost like a sudden pull of the plug, and the announcers were told to not speak. Raw hashtag Raw Los Angeles. It definitely seemed a bit odd. And just by looking at some more of the social media activity that's been coming in since we've been on the air, a lot of people were very, very displeased with tonight's ending of Raw. I mean, where the blue hell was a Brock Lesnar F5. I don't know who was writing this stuff tonight, but they definitely missed the ball. But I will say this: for the most part, overall, Raw tonight it gets a pass. They did a really good job in hyping up the WrestleMania matches. Um, I particularly enjoyed the Divas match. I enjoyed the Sting Triple H segment, Stephanie McMahon segment for what it was worth. Bray Wyatt was awesome. The spot was with Curtis Axel, Snoop Dogg, Hulk Hogan. That was awesome. I'm sure for Curtis Axel, he probably was cheesing and marking out backstage after it was all said and done with. Paul Heyman hyping up the main event match for the World Championship belt, or sorry, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship belt. That was great. For the most part, it was definitely a decent episode. It definitely gets a pass. On to WrestleMania now. All right. And on that note, for all the very latest in wrestling news and beyond, be kind, rewind. We got some really great stuff you can check out here on YouTube. Don't forget our podcast show. All the links you need is in this episode description. Again, if you did not check out my WrestleMania predictions, it is available on YouTube right now. Check it out when you guys get a chance. Those of you that might be curious if we're going to maybe take the audio version of the prediction special, have it be available on multiple platforms. No, we're trying to do the rounds of making more YouTube content, like exclusive for you guys. I will tell you this just came in my head too. There's a You Shoot DVD that Alberto Del Rio did that we will be reviewing on our Tuesday night edition of the RCWR show. And one of the cool things that I love about this is from Kayfabe Commentaries. And one of the cool things that I love about this DVD is that I make an appearance on here. And if you're a collector of Kayfabe Commentaries DVDs, you'll know that this is the second time that I've made an appearance, not only on the front cover, but I've also made an appearance on the episode of You Shoot itself. The last go round was with Brodus Clay, aka Monster BC. I don't know if you guys can maybe see me. I'll kind of zoom this in a little bit, and I'm kind of right there in the middle there. But it's really cool. If you go to the website right now at kayfabecommentaries.com, you can see my face plastered on the website. It's like totally cool, but we're going to kick on back and we're going to review this for you guys on our Tuesday night show. So make sure you join us for that. It's going to be really, really awesome. Make sure you give this a thumbs up. When you do, you're basically showing your support to us over here as YouTube video creators. And share this a number of ways. You can Facebook it, you can Google Plus it, you can retweet it, you can Pinterest it. One of the many ways you can spread the good word about our content, and subscribe if you haven't done so already, as we always post great content for you guys to check out on a weekly basis, whether it's reviews, interviews, breaking a little bit of news. We do a little bit of any and everything on here. We just so happen to talk about wrestling, but wrestling isn't really our thing on here on YouTube, as you can tell from all the great content that we have here. All right. A very good night. Good morning. Till next go round. Be safe and be kind to one another. And may the good news be yours. Take care.